Well, all right, hey, welcome back to the channel, and I thought we would talk about the most popular topic on my YouTube channel and in my teaching over the years, which is dominant 7 arpeggios. You know, you just can't lose with them. They really, really work for so much. And in this channel, I've only taught them in a few ways, a couple spots on the guitar, we've combined them with pentatonic scales. But if you're new to arpeggios, it's important to know that the dominant 7 arpeggio in this instance plays the individual notes of a G7 chord, let's say. And you can play that all over the guitar. And what's great is you can kind of almost like puddle jump around them and combine those with pentatonic scales and licks that you already know to create some really, really interesting sounds, right? Probably the sounds that you haven't played yet, that you're dying to employ into your own guitar solos. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play as many patterns as I can play or think of over a 1-chord shuffle. So it's not going to be a blues, it's just going to be that over the entire, with the dominant 7 arpeggios over that chord, all right? Because we want to figure out a way to practice them, all right? And playing 1 chord over and over is a great way to get the language. Now, what about the other most popular topic on my channel? How do I get a sound? Well, I thought in these videos, if you hang in there till the end, and before you hit the subscribe button, you watch, had to put that in there. You watch my little demo of how I'm using this guitar and whatever pedal I'm using or whatever to get the particular sound. And what's going to be cool is there's links to check out the gear that I'm using in the description below. So you want to make sure you hang around for that or fast forward as we put the chapters in the YouTube video as well. All right, but first let me just play the arpeggios over the track and then we'll come back and we'll slow it down with the track and I'll walk you through it. I'll hold your hand through ways that you can practice these on your own. All right, let's hear the track. All right, so not a lot of like heavy soloing there. I'm not trying to impress you. This is really an educational, video in which I want to really make sure you understand these arpeggios up and down the guitar. At least, if you can find them, you can start experimenting on your own. And you, of course, can do it with this track that I'll provide, as well as the tab for all of these fingerings. So if we start down here on the 6th string, now that's going to be our 3rd fret. And what's important to know is that in the G7 chord, even though it looks like a bunch of notes there in my hand, the G7 chord is made up of a G, a B, a D, and an F. And you can hear how that's not this. It's a little bit different. And it really pinpoints all of the notes in that chord going by, and when we roll the track after we demonstrate these, it will really make more sense to you for sure. And of course we have all those other great videos that I've done that we can reference. So always great to have an updated lesson on this stuff. So if we take our 2nd finger and we play 4 notes in this cadence, we're going to go 6th string 3rd fret G, 5th string 2nd fret B 1st finger, and then your D with your pinky on the 5th string 5th fret. Now that's a triad right there. And at the heart of a G7 chord is a triad. Now your 1st finger I like to use so I can grab that F note there. And that's the 4 notes of the dominant 7 arpeggio. Now what we're going to do is, in this instance, we can take it up an octave from G to G, which is really nice. Actually, 2 octaves. G, 4th string, 5th fret. Now watch this triad. So you go 4, 3, 2, frets 5, 4, 3. Then your pinky's going to grab that 8th fret, 2nd string, and if you want, you can play the 1st string, 3rd fret there to tie it up and give you a G. Great, great stuff here. I use it daily, absolutely. So that's your first area. And if it helps, play a G7 chord. Now, not too far from it is another area, but I don't want to start on too low of a note right here. I want to play this one, which is on my 4th string. It's that same one we just played, but we're going to change the fingering up a little bit because I also try to see pentatonic scales within those two, since we use pentatonic scales so much for blues and R&B soloing and rock soloing. So now use your 2nd finger, 4th string, on that G, 1st finger, 3rd string, B. Now look at that. See how that triad works? It's the same exact fingering as you did down here. But you have to grab the F on the 2nd string there, it's the 6th fret. So on the guitar, some things will flow really well, some things won't flow that well at all. This is one of those instances that's kind of in between. And that's your G, B, D, F. Now, if you wanted to get the most out of that area, you could go G, D, B, G. Now, the sweet pickers might do that in rock and metal. That kind of stuff that I can't do. But I like to kind of pick and bop around a little bit. What's cool is you can connect that first one we learned. But for the most part, start it from the root and try to really just see that 4-note sequence there, because in the future you might want to add it to this. Like a G minor pentatonic scale. Okay, so there's another one. But again, I doubt you're going to be going in your blues solos. Right? You want to go. That's why these fingerings work the way they do, and that's why you see most people kind of stick to the root-to-root versions when they're explaining them and learning them, so they make sense from the G all the way up to that F, and then of course the octave G. Now, we're going to move all the way up here to the 10th fret. Here's a G here, and I'm going to use my pinky on the 5th string, 10th fret, and we're going to start with our triad there. G, B, D, F. And we can add even the octave there. Now what do I try to do? Try to see my G minor pattern 3 pentatonic there. You can even see people are starting to think caged now. Think arpeggio, not caged here. Okay, so that is our G chord. Now, what we're going to do is grab that F to get the G7 sound. Now, this area here, my favorite part, one of my favorites, I should say. Again, starting on the root, but we're extending it a little bit further. G, B, D, F, G, B, D, F. Great spot here. Sits right around pattern 4 in G minor pentatonic. And we can go. Wonderful. See, here's our triad again. Boom, boom, boom. There's our flat 7, triad, triad, add the flat 7. Now could you go, of course, you could play arpeggios this way. But is that practical? Well, if you only had a 1-string guitar, it would be, but we don't, okay? So that's another great spot, and usually when I teach these, I usually stick to those two to really get the sound in your head, but then you're missing all this ground in here. So you wanna be at least able to see that stuff, okay? So now it takes us to one more area of the guitar that we should consider working in, but it might be tricky. So remember how we had this one, that triad. We'll check this out. Here's a G, way up on the 15th fret, 6th string, G, B, D, and I can add the F. Oh, that's not an F, that's an E. There it is there. Really uncomfortable. You're probably not gonna play that a whole lot, but you should learn it because you might need it somewhere else. But here, G, B, D, F, that's a nice one. Some nice little licks that can be had right in there. Just intermix, intertwined a bunch of dominant 7 arpeggios and scales. That's the next step. Once we do that, we've now achieved dominant 7 arpeggio sounds over the entire guitar. Because of course we could go, if we wanted to, you can find them in open positions, but I'm gonna tab all that stuff out for you so you can start to really hunt. See how fast I did that? And then, you did all that, but you never even did all your pentatonic work, okay? So you had this whole new language that we can really spread across the entire instrument. So, that being said, let's make sure that I'm still recording, sure am, and let's bring up the track a little bit and just kind of put some of these over a 1-chord vamp, just a G7 vamp. Here we go. Fancy now. Fun, right? Just wanted you to hear them once again since I played them earlier over that. And that's how I would practice them. I'd roll the track and I'd get used to them. Unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that practicing isn't always fun. I practice a lot of stuff that's not fun and really painful every morning with my coffee. And hopefully sometimes it comes out in my playing more refined. We hope, maybe a year later. Yeah, I said a year later. So it's gonna take you a while to work on these. Now the two most sort of popular ones would be position 1 here and what I might call position 4 or 5 here, probably 4, but okay, but you can think about it as your two favorite that really make the most sense. And again, I've taught on this before, so there's other fun videos out there to supplement this stuff as well. But again, this isn't how to use them yet. We'll get into that for sure. But it's more about teaching them to you so you have them. That's really, really important. All right, so it never fails, at least once a video, someone asked me, how did you get that sound? Show us how you're getting the sound. So I thought, let's take a moment to kind of not just focus on that, but like maybe a particular guitar in my arsenal or one I'm playing for a particular video. and some of the pedals I'm currently using, and some other fun stuff that can really help you sort of make a decision on a guitar, or maybe you've been looking at a particular pedal you want to check out and I happen to have it. Any of that stuff. I'm here for you guys. We really want to have some fun and really understand the tone we're getting. And also in this video, it's a fairly simple tone. So let's talk about how we can really get a refined, nice, clean blues soloing type tone. Okay? So first of all, the guitar I'm playing is the PRS SE Hollowbody 2 Piezo, and I probably screwed the order of that name up. But these guitars are interesting because they're completely hollow. They do have the piezo pickup, which we're not using at the moment. And it's got a really warm sort of, I say like a burpy sound. I love hollows and semi-hollows because they have this sort of burpy quality. And that's just the neck pickup, really nice and warm. Really great sound. If I go to the middle, I can play a lot of stuff with it. And the bridge sounds great. But it's mellow, it's not too harsh, it's not too aggressive, which is what I dig about the guitar. Now what I have is the tone knob turned down just a smidge. Now this is important with some of these guitars. Sometimes they have just a little bit too crispy top end. Like if I play the neck pickup, tone knob wide open, I like to kind of turn it down a smidge and find somewhere in between, but that helps also when I'm using the bridge. If I have it wide open, if I turn it down a little bit, you can see where there's that spot where it's just a little too much. Bring it back. Really fun, versatile guitar. I've had a lot of people ask me about this one over the years. And the piece de resistance is the fact that you can blend in the acoustic pickup. Play a little cleaner, Corey. That might be helpful. Great for sort of your, if you're doing like a worship type of thing, or if you're doing a singer-songwriter thing and you need to go back and forth, or if you're on a stage and you need to go back and forth quickly. Also, acoustic or piezo bridges, they do add sort of a nice, maybe not that much, but just a little bit of it. Sort of jazz box. Fun, right? It's a cool thing to have. You can, of course, split the output and you can send either pickup to a different amp or a sound system or whatever you want. But they also have the ability to kind of blend it all in one control. And that's it, super lightweight. And this is the SE, so this is the imported one. And the pickups sound good, the guitar feels good. These are the same strings I've had on it for a long time. Yeah, they're a little dead, but I kind of like them that way. Amp-wise, I'm going through my favorite amp company, 2 Rock amps. This is a TS1, very clean. But what's really important in this environment, if you look behind me, those 2 aux boxes sitting back there, the universal audio aux boxes, I go from the amp into the aux box, and through some software, I can not only create the sound of that amp, because that amp is really sending its signal to that. It's a load box, it's safe for the amp, it's taking its tone and it's putting it through their speaker simulation, and that's what you're hearing. So I have no live mics in the room other than my lavalier that I just bashed with my finger. Pedals, fun stuff. Now, I made this small board. Looks like it's got a lot of stuff on it, but it's small for me. Whole bunch of fun stuff with it. But notice here, this is the Tim Pierce J Rockett Overdrive. I love Tim's a great guy, and I always thought this pedal was great. But if I took that clean boost, that's just a clean boost on that, there's also overdrive. The guitar sounds good, But when you put a clean boost on, lots of times something magical can now happen to your pickups. It helps because it kind of, I feel like it brings all your frequencies to the front. So that's it, just sort of lightly turned on. And that's all I was using in the demos, or the lesson. And of course you can drive the amp a little harder if you want to. So great stuff. Just a one knob clean boost. That's it. It's got some tone controls, but they're all flat. Reverb and delay. Been doing a lot of stuff over the years with Universal Audio, and I'm really into these pedals because I've become simpler. I just want one reverb sound or two reverb sounds. That's what the golden reverberator allows me to do. You're hearing a great spring. I did a whole demo video on this channel about that. I can get much bigger sounds if I want. By way of a plate or another spring, you name it, there's all kinds of stuff in there. I'm not going to go into great detail, but check out that demo video. I haven't done a big video on the Starlight, but really all I have is sort of a tape echo happening. And that's just the reverb. When I put this on, let's take the reverb off so you can hear the echo. Just a little bit of slap. I can turn up the mix a little bit. To me, that sounds great when I want to go. It'll make your one lone guitar that much bigger. Let's turn the reverb down. Take both of those off. Not as vibey for sure. And there's plenty of other goodies on here too, which I'm sure we'll talk about in videos to come. But yeah, you can check all that stuff out with the links I've provided below, stuff that I'm using in this pedal board, like stuff you can't see, like the power supply, what the board actually is, the pedal train board. So cables, all that stuff I'll include as well. So yeah, very simple. Just this PRS, just that Tim Pierce with the reverb and delay, and there you have it. I'm sure it'll get wilder and crazier as we go and we check out other stuff on the channel. But that's it. If you have any other questions, comments, please leave them below. I love chatting with you guys about this stuff. It's a lot of fun. And don't forget to check the links and subscribe, and make sure you get the tab and the track as well. All right, Corey here for you. I'll see you on another video. Thanks so much for hanging out. Take care.